Hey teachers, Brother Judd here with my last training of the year. Thank you for participating in these trainings. I hope you found them helpful, and most importantly, I hope they've helped your students deepen their conversion to Jesus Christ and His restored gospel. So for this lesson in Revelation chapter 14, it's all about, it's not all about, but it talks about the angel Moroni and his role in the restoration, and what's the purpose of the church, and why do we even have a church, and what's the church being restored for, and the purpose of it all, and. So I actually really like this lesson. Not that I don't like the others, but I like how this lesson is outlined. It starts with asking a question, or sets up a situation where it says, imagine being in a class at school when the topic of organized religion comes up. A classmate comments that fewer and fewer people belong to or attend a church because they feel churches don't really serve a purpose. This comment causes you to think about the purpose of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And the question to discuss with your students, what are some things you feel others should understand about why Jesus Christ organized His church? Be a fun discussion to have. Young people, they're seeing, fewer and fewer of their friends are indeed going to church. And how do they handle that? And do they feel odd because they do go to church when so many of their friends have stopped going to church? Another thing you could do, and this is a skill that doesn't just apply to this lesson, but it could apply to a number of other lessons. And it's important while you go through and you read the whole curriculum when planning a lesson, and don't just kind of follow it, line by line as you're teaching it. Another way you could start the lesson would to take this picture of the angel Moroni, put it up there, and then ask the question, have you ever wondered why most of our temples have a statue of Moroni on top? You could have the question posted on the board, or you could just ask the question, why do Latter-day Saint temples have Angel Moroni on the top? What's the scriptural justification for it? Or if you even wanted to have some fun, I'll get to that here in a second. The skill is reading the energy in the room and using the appropriate readiness activity for the energy in the room, okay? So if your students come in and they're already, they're talking and they're excited to be there, and you've got some good energy in the room, then this lesson right here, or this suggestion right here at the beginning about, talking about the purpose of the church, and, fewer and fewer people are going to church. People think, well, what's the purpose of it all? Well, talking about the purpose of the church would be a really good discussion to have with young people who are awake and ready to learn and want to engage and whatnot. If, however, you were to ask a question like this, or to bring up this scenario, and the kids really aren't ready for it, they're going to miss out on a really great discussion. So that's when you could use a higher energy readiness activity like this, where if it's really low energy, you could do something like, and this is where humor is always good. Appropriate humor is always good to help bring the energy level up of a class. You could do something like this. All right, everybody, I want you to give the worst reason you can think of why Latter-day Saints put an angel Moroni on top of the temple. Now, you need to be appropriate, be respectful, but let's see if you can come up with the funniest reason you can think of why we put an angel Moroni on the top of our temples. And then that lets them, use their creativity also to try to be funny, share things, get the class laughing a bit. And then you start with their crazy ideas, and then you pull it back to, okay, what do you think the actual idea is? And then there's some lesson material here about that comes out of Revelation chapter 14. And then you could even go back and incorporate this scenario about, what's the purpose of the church, and our church does have a purpose. It's to prepare the world for the second coming of Jesus Christ, and to prepare not only the church, but to prepare our hearts, and talk about the importance of having a why behind all of the things that we do. So again, the skill is to determine, read the room, our heads down, our heads up. Our students, are they ready to learn? Are they talking about other things? And even if they are talking about other things, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because, well, hey, at least there's some energy there, and all you need to do is redirect it into the lesson. And so I encourage you to, go through, look at the lesson, see the things that are available. If you come down here to the end, there are always, commentary and background information. Maybe some of these quotes, videos are always good. Things to help students engage in the lesson. But to go through and try to pick out, okay, here's a high energy readiness activity, here's a lower energy readiness activity. If the kids come to class and they're just bouncing off the walls, because maybe it's your last day before Christmas break, you would not want to do that. Hey, what's the silliest reason you can think of for putting Angel Moroni? You would not want to do that. You'd lose them because their energy is already high, and that would just put it through the roof. That would be awful. Instead, you'd want to redirect that energy with the possible learning activity, using the Elder Christofferson quote and talking about, what's the purpose of church and why do you think people aren't going to church as much? Perfect opportunity for a class that's already at a high state of readiness and they have a lot of energy. When they don't have energy, though, that's when you may have to be a little creative and use one of the other things to try to bring that energy up so that they can have enough energy and buy-in to participate in some of the deeper discussion. So I hope that was helpful, not just for this lesson, but for lessons in the new year, where you've got to either bring the energy up or tamp the energy down. And that's, I'm grateful that we can trust you as teachers to read the room and to be able to do that. So if you need any more tips on, high energy activities, low energy activities, feel free to reach out and I'll do my best to help you and more importantly, help your students. And so again, thank you for participating in trainings this year, and we'll have more for you next year when we undertake the study of the Book of Mormon. God bless and take care.